Hey guys, good afternoon and welcome once again to a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Myself, Freddie York, and John Costin joining us here for our Let 'em Run podcast. Actually, our Let 'em Run roundup, John, is we're going to cover some action here today. Right, John? We got action today.
Got great fall action. Beautiful fall day. The turf season in the Northeast is coming to an end. So all the turf courses are loaded with tons of horses. Aqueduct, Laurel, everyone's get their last runs in before they shut the turf down. So great time to be, following fall action.
That's a good point. I did not put that together in my head until you mentioned it, but you're right. Fall turf racing is about to come to a close. I guess the only turf racing will be down south at one of my favorite tracks, Gulfstream Park, where the championship meet begins in December. John, did you know that? Did you know the championship meet begins in December?
I kind of try to tune it out of my mind because championship meet doesn't mean the championship meet like it used to, and we used to go every year to the old wooden grandstands. Now it's like so commercialized. They force the tapeta down your throat.
Yeah.
Many. If they used it properly, I'd have a different opinion. Like using it for off the turf days, but
Sure.
not scheduling so many tapeta races during their championship meet. It's just, it's too much for me to, pay attention to. And just the quality has gone down over years. Guys are spreading out to fairgrounds. Oaklawn, has picked up a lot of traction in the last 5 years. I know fairgrounds.
Absolutely.
So
Oaklawn has some huge. Yeah, Oaklawn has some huge fields. I mean, I don't tend to migrate towards Oaklawn. I just haven't done that lately. Perhaps we'll begin to do that as well as we pick up other tracks for us to begin to dissect, John. But Oaklawn tends to have big fields, right?
Huge fields, great racing down there, amongst themselves. A lot of the horses stay the whole meet and, not many shippers coming in only for like the big grade 1 races, but it's just a nice, winter meet where you get to know the horses. They run 2-3 times during the meet.
Okay.
Full 12 horse fields, no turf. That's the only problem. They have no turf course at Oaklawn. Just a great place to go in Arkansas.
Cool. Okay. So, a couple of things to cover here for those of our dedicated viewers. First of all, thank you for watching. I want to thank very quickly two of our sponsors, Case's Pork Roll, family owned and operated since 1870. As you can see, great stuff there. You can't beat Case for the taste. And the vape shop, which is located Route 33 in Hamilton. They have all your vape supplies and a tremendous full selection of top-selling CBD. Once again, I want to thank those two for the support as our podcast here at Let 'em Run continues to grow, particularly today with a Let 'em Run Roundup Saturday. We are going to cover the late pick 5. We'll get to that shortly, but also for any of our viewers who follow what we write, what the article that we put together each week, we're probably going to end up putting more articles out there on Sports Talk Florida. I recommend you check that out because we break down all of our top picks, our top contenders, and some long shots in this late pick 5 that John and I are about to talk about. And what's interesting, John, I mentioned this, is scratches. That's why we do this show after the scratches, because as we'll discuss, there have been some good scratches that are going to affect some of the thoughts we have on this late pick 5. But what's interesting, John, is in the picks that I made in the late pick 5 that are in the article in Sports Talk Florida, not one scratch. None of my picks scratch. I don't know if that's good or bad, but every horse we label down there is still in the mix, John.
To do that a few days ago and then have that happen where your ticket stays intact, your picks stay intact, very rarely do you see it. The guys that I do check out who do, similar to what you do, put their thoughts on paper ahead of time. And then when you go read it, you got to cross off 2, 3, 4 of their picks over the card. But it's pretty amazing that none scratched. While we talk about scratches, yesterday we covered the River City handicap at, Churchill later today, and that's race 11. Huge scratch in that race that, we saw this morning. Fred was excited about it because it really helps one of the horses that he liked. So, moves him up. If you want to, talk a quick second about that, Fred.
Sure. The River City at Churchill Downs, it's goes off today, 5:55 Eastern Standard Time, a mile and eighth on turf. Looking at that race, there's a lot of speed in the race, but there is some speed that may be suspect speed. And I was looking quite a bit at the number 3, Quattrocento. It was more or less 20-1. Raced last out against Rhetorical, Program, Trending, Brilliant Birdie. So some really serious runners that this horse ran against. Then there was a scratch, the number 2, Epic Ride. Their two numbers as speed figures were very similar. 121 U.S. time form early pace for Epic Ride and 120 for Quattrocento. So once the 2 scratched, that put the 3 way up in the lineup in terms of the speed. And I kind of think, and John, you shared your thoughts here that the 1 may get around, and then there's very likely that a couple of horses may follow that horse around, but I don't know if they're going to be able to stick with him. It's just a matter of getting a good break now. He's a little closer to the rail. I think that helps. Does that make sense, John, in that discussion, what we just talked about?
Yeah, he might be like the speedier of the speeds. The only thing is that, he was doing those speeds at like the flat mile, which is a lot sharper, a lot quicker early. So if he could settle into a rhythm and he doesn't get pressed by what looks to be 3 or 4 other ones, depending on how they are to get the lead. So, he at that price, he'll definitely outrun his odds. He won't be 20-1. And our good friend who was on the show last week, I saw an article by him who, Ed DeRosa, Horse Racing Nation, he put an article out there online, and he definitely, same exact thing that Fred was all over. So Ed and Fred are on the same horse.
Oh, boy. I don't know if we'll see how Ed feels about that. I know how I feel about it.
Fred feels good. I know that.
What's that?
Fred feels good. Ed, we got a question.
Ed, we got to see. We'll find out how Ed feels about it later. If the horse wins, we'll both feel good, John. You're right.
Yep.
Okay, another little thing we added to guys, if you want to check this out, just so that you can follow along with the pick fives that John and I are talking about as we're scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You'll see right now the late pick 5 at the Big A. There's John Costin's picks starting in race 6, the 125, 16789, 4713 over the 167, 23 for $135 ticket. My ticket, the 125, 1568, 48, 10, 13, 37, 137, $144 ticket. And then we put together what's called a little unity ticket where, and John and I did this separately, and then he gave me his picks, I wrote my picks down, and we came up with what we call a unity ticket. Those are the horses in that late pick 5 sequence that John and I both had the same horses. So obviously that ticket's a $16 ticket because we narrowed down some of the pictures to the ones that we had. So again, use that information, pick and choose, see what you like, see what you don't like. We're about to break it down now and talk about the races that we just covered. And let's see what we come up with, John. So let's start with the first leg of the pick 5, which is an allowance race, and 88,000 non-winners of 1 allowance, a mile and an eighth on the dirt. We both like the 125. So John, why don't you kick it off and then talk about why we like these horses? I think I know why.
The one horse back in the, Linda Rice barn, this was a grade 1 placed, second place to Saudi Crown in the Pennsylvania Derby 2 years ago. And a lot of times these horses, they finally come back into form at a lower level. Obviously, they're not that high caliber anymore. Linda Rice does an amazing job. And it looks like another one that she stumbled upon and found. She claimed for 50,000 out of non-winners of 2. And since, it was in her barn, she's got a third and a win. Definitely stepping up a little in company, but fast figures. Linda Rice barn, Carmouche won on it last time. So, a lot to like there. But it's pace dependent. We'll have to come from, the back, a little bit. So if the pace is not there, you got to find somebody that might be able to, hang on. The other one I like is the 2-horse Remarkably, Belmont, Alvarado. Leave them 2 off your tickets at your peril. I mean, it's just them 2 and Flavian Pratt. If you got to leave them off, you're asking for trouble. But this one's a stretch out horse who probably will be forwardly placed. And that would be one that might be able to, get the mile and an eighth and hopefully be forwardly placed and stick there. And if, Dreamlike doesn't, catch them, maybe get the jump on the other ones. And the other speed up there also is the 5 Commute It, Bobby Falcone Jr. Very tactical horse, but looks like it has to be, really on the lead. It did hold off Dreamlike when they faced each other before. So it was a speed favoring track. It was a merry-go-round. They went around basically. Dreamlike couldn't catch Commute It. Commute It held on. But that was at a mile. Now we're going a mile and an eighth. So basically am figuring one of the two front runners or Dreamlike will run him down in this field here.
Obviously, I agree with everything you said because we both have the same picks. What's interesting too is the one horse Dreamlike is the #1 prime power, but also was purchased for $975,000. So clearly, they saw that horse as a big time horse. And Linda Rice, Kendra Caramouche, they hit it about 31% over the last 60 days when they've hooked up together. And I think that horse certainly is going to be, in my opinion, the one to beat. Again, the 5 Speedy. No question about that. I do like the analysis you made of the 2. Mott and Alvarado have been super, particularly in any races where they're hooked up together. Only thing I mentioned is you mentioned Pratt. He's on the 8 horse. Pratt and Chad Brown hooking up. I looked at my ticket and originally I thought I had him on, but I figured I took him off again. Maybe perhaps at my own peril, but maybe we both did. So if our viewers are thinking about they want to increase the cost of their ticket, but increase possibly the value and be not losing that race, that may be a horse you might want to consider tacking onto your ticket.
Just a quick update, Fred. That race I was talking about before we went on the air, that Aqueduct race, $200,000 stake race. It was only 4 horses. Very interesting. And Disco Time for Brad Cox just won by about 8 or 9 lengths. Juddmonte
still undefeated.
5 for 5, undefeated. The other horse is Tip Top Thomas, who just won his last race at Parks, coming off 3 in a row. He folded up and was way back. The longest shot in the field, Kendra Caramouche, got second. So, and the other favorite, Stars and Stripes, Lescano, and Mott never really got a call. So, dominating performance, Disco Time, 5 for 5 now. So, keep an eye on him in the future. Just a fun horse.
Pretty solid horse. And like you said, a small field of 4, but a really cool field with the horses that you just mentioned. Okay, let's go to race 7. Race 7, the next leg is on the inner turf, 1 mile and 1/8. The Hill Prince Grade 3 $200,000 race. I'll kick it off here a little bit, John. I went with the 1, 5, 6, 8. John, you went with the 1, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'll cover the horses that I liked. I mean, the one, again, Noble Confessor, another horse ridden by Kendra Caramouche. There's a lot of similar buyer speed figures in this race. So, I mean, you got to look for Trip, got to look for somebody who has speed. He ran in a very big race last time out at Aqueduct at the Grade 2 race, came in second. They're changing Santana to Caramouche. I think that's a positive move. Certainly, Todd Pletcher can put a horse where they belong, and I think that's what he's doing there. The number 6 horse, another horse I like is Stars and Strides. Again, as you mentioned, John, before, leave Alvarado and Mott off your ticket at your own peril. But besides that, the horse is just a good horse, stepping up in class a little bit. But another horse that's been getting better the last several races, outraced at Saratoga the last time out, put in a big win there and put up a nice buyer speed figure. The race before that also won again in a nice field with 10 horses in it. Working out tremendously for the return. I think Bill Mott has this horse super ready to go. And the other horse was the 8, Mare of Midnight, 9-2 on the morning line. Chad Brown trainee, ridden by Flavien Prat. So again, Pratt's been good on turf and dirt. This is a turf race, so I think that is a horse that could also be a big factor in this race, John.
Yeah, pretty much nailed it. Why I'm going deep here, I don't trust Stars and Strides at the low number, probably going to be about 6 to 5, 7 to 5. And at that low number, I don't, want to lean on him too much. Want to try to beat him and create value. So, I had to go pretty deep to find another one that I really would latch on to. Noble Confessor, you said, I think that speed figure on the buyer speed figure 83 was a little bit better. A couple other numbers I saw, different types of numbers were a little bit better. So maybe that buyer might be a little bit lower there. Right. So keep an eye on that. Stars and Strides really has done nothing wrong, since it hit the turf, trained by Mott, but he'll be an underlay. So Griffin's Wharf almost caught him at the mile distance on the turf, just missed, came flying. Another couple strides goes right by. So maybe the 1 1/8 is what he wants, a little longer distance. In the last race, he was attending the pace a little closer than he normally was. It was a really strong pace. It fell apart. Everybody else folded up. He's the only one to stick around other than the 3 closers that, engulfed him at the very end. So really impressive race. Probably the 7 would be my top pick. Mayor of Midnight with Pratt, not leaving him off. And I would also throw in Tiz Dashing the 9 for Barclay Tag. Faced Zulu Kingdom twice, who reeled off probably, around 5 wins in a row in the summer on the grass. Got disqualified, which cost me a ton that day when he got taken down for an incident that happened in the first turn, which very rarely do you see an incident in the first turn.
Yeah, really.
So this horse has had 2 tough trips the last 2. Coming out of Kentucky Downs, 9 furlongs. Not sure he wants the 9, but it looks like he'll close into it. But I'll throw him in there as a price horse. So I'm going to go 5 deep there.
And then just a quick note: the one horse Noble Confessor is getting blinkers on for the first time, which I think may give him a better chance to even get a little bit better, a little sharper. And Todd Pletcher's pretty good when he puts blinkers on a horse. So let's go to the 8th race, John. That's made a special weight race.
Cut you off 1 second there. Here's the handicapping point that I always look at when blinkers on. Always check since the last race, did they have any workouts? Most likely that last workout was with blinkers. That's why they worked them out in blinkers. Now they're going to run them in blinkers. And you could see that 48-2 was 10th best out of 219 sample. So hopefully the blinkers were on, it worked, and that horse will be a little fresher. That's just one of my angles that I look for. Right. When blinkers on, go check the workouts and see if the workout pattern got better with the blinkers on.
I think you made that point many times before, and that's actually a tremendous pick on that. And so let's see what happens with that. John, race 8, I'll let you jump in here. Maiden special weight race, mile and 16th on turf. Couple first timers in here. A field of big field of 12 right now with the critical scratch. So I'll let you talk about that because we did cover that scratch, John, together. But let's talk about this horse and who we like here.
Yeah, this race had me baffled. I mean, we're talking New York State breds, going long on the grass. It's always a crapshoot. And, usually It's the last race of the day, especially at Saratoga. They would card this race, the last race. And it was just, it would be our favorite term, chaos would, usually ensue. So, looking at this race, I was going to go 7-8 deep here, give a couple of the first-time starters a shot. But once the scratch happened and that Jack's World got, into the race, 4-1 morning line, I'm guessing will be somewhere in this 6-5, 7-5, 8-5 range. And they put Flavien Prat on for Linda Rice, returning back to the grass. Almost makes it a single. And I would play some tickets where I would single here and maybe spread a little deeper in other races. But from the way outside the 12 hole, just see how the race unfolds. I'm going to throw a couple other ones in here. The ones that ran and really basically showed what they are, I'm not going to use those. The ones that ran and had a little bit of trouble that are lightly raced that you just don't know, if they were any better. And the ones I'm going to throw in here, the 4-horse Snickery, who was as green as could be. First time gelding now, are one of our good angles there, Fred. First time gelding. He dropped back, and he was bet 8-1 his first time start, against 9 horses. So maybe he's got a little bit more to show stretching out. And it is a Knicks Go, and Knicks Go didn't get good till he started, stretching out around 2 turns a mile and a eighth. So, and then the other one is the 7, Mike Maker on the grass. Again, tough to leave Mike Maker on the grass. He was green and blocked. If you watch those replays, the last race, it looks like he's, 3x14. The horse won by 13.5 lengths. So he was, right there at the finish with the rest of the field. Gaming Wizard just ran off with it in and off the turfer. So it was scheduled for the turf. Gaming Wizard was, the specialist for off the turf, and he won easily. This horse was second choice in that race, but he is meant for the turf, stretching out. So with the excuses, I'll throw in the 4 and a 7 to go with a potential single, the 13.
Yeah, definitely. The 13 became huge. And again, talk about the stars being aligned for Prat to pick up that mount. He wasn't listed on any horses in this field. I mean, you had 12 horses as well as 3. Well, actually, 1 also eligible for the grass. And Dylan Davis was listed on that also eligible. He's on the 1, Leave Me. And now Flavien Prat picks up a pickup mount on a horse that, certainly I agree with you, probably going to be bet down quite big, especially he already won the first race today. You said at 6-1. I don't think you're going to see 6-1 on him again all day. But I kind of like the 10, make a prediction. Jose Lezcano's on him, trained by James Farrow. This horse ran in a big field, had a tough post last out, ran very well against, again, a big field with some good horses in that field, put up a decent buyer speed figure here at Aqueduct at a distance of 1:16. So he's familiar with this distance. Lescano ran with him the last time, and I think that horse can have a big chance to possibly get in. That's why I also use the 10 in there, and along with the 8 too. I love any Munning Speckstown horse that's running on turf. He's been on turf. He got rained off turf in his second race. Santana still has the mount for George Weaver, and he's really hasn't really kicked into gear in the stretch yet. And I think if he gets a chance to do that this time around, as he gets a little stronger, gets a little better, certainly George Weaver is very good with 2-year-olds. And I think, the morning line is 7-2. I guess he probably is the morning line favorite at 7-2. That's a pretty good price for your favorite. But that's why I use those horses, John. So I think, I agree with you. Chaos is very likely in that race. And if we can get past that race, we'll get to a pretty good race here that I'll let you kick it off first, John. The Mother Goose, grade 2 for fillies, 3 years old, a mile and an eighth on the dirt, John. What do we got?
Flipping back to one last thing, your pick there, the 10 horse that you like, blinkers on, and then I just go and check the last workout, 2 out of 23, 36-4. So there's another reason why blinkers probably can help this horse. But the trainer, James Farrow, he's only clicking at 7% all of the year, 10 wins out of 150. But his stats with first-time blinkers, 0 for 12. Blinkers on, 0 for 16. On the turf, 4 for 100. So the trainer stats are just not that good. But the blinkers on is the angle that you can, hang your hat on that one for sure.
That's kind of, again, one of the things I did look at. Again, I've got to pay a little more attention to the idea that you mentioned. If the workouts look good, and again, his stats are not very good with 2-year-olds, first-time blinkers on, etc., as you mentioned. But, getting the blinkers on could give this horse a chance. He's also number 1 prime power, which, again, in the maiden race, it doesn't mean as much as some of the races where the horses are a little more established. But nevertheless, I try not to ignore number 1 prime power. So, but that's a good pickup, John. Appreciate that. Let's go to race 9. Again, Mother Goose, John, I'll let you go first because I got a big tell I want to mention here when we get to my turn to speak, John.
Yeah, this is a good race. It actually, you're going to have some potential stars, hopefully, coming out of here, moving forward into next year to look at the, the mare division when they start, stretching out on a regular basis. I came up with the one, Velasquez on the rail, Cherie DeVoe. I think this one here, eventually will become that stakes horse that I'm thinking of. Since stretched out, going 2 turns, both races, really excelled. Curlin, needed the distance. So I would think the one has a big shot in there. Probably going to leave off the 3, Lemon Zest with Pratt and Cox, which is almost suicidal. But if you go back and look at that Oaks race at Remington Park, the Remington Park Oaks, she's 40 cents on a dollar, and really just no reason with 113-1 just to fold up, and there was absolutely zero excuse. And the 8 horse in this race, there she was the second choice, ran right by her like she was standing still. And that horse don't look like, nothing really that special. So I can't take either one of them out of that race after watching, what they did there. The 4 coming out of the cotillion, just missing, came flying at 45-1. I was there that day and saw her coming up on the outside. I didn't have her, and she, thank God, didn't get there. But I don't think there's enough pace in this race for her to make this that move. So, I can eliminate her. The ones I'm going to, key in on are the 6 and the 7, fully subscribed. Ran against the 7 2-back and, just missed. Been the favorite, all 3 starts of her life. Highest buyer going this 1 1/8 distance.
Getting better and better.
Run this distance, and with the highest buyer there, Chad Brown, Dylan Davis, and Q the Duck Boats. Alvarado got to include that. I'll let you talk about all the stuff that we already discussed, 2 days ago. But let our viewers know what you came up with the 7. But I'm going to lean my hat on the 1, 6, 7 and try to get through.
Yeah, again, I probably, looking back, would have thought maybe I might have included one of the horses that you had mentioned. The 1, I did not use the 1. I think that's actually a pretty big miss on my part. He is or she is obviously in a good spot, getting better each race. Their buyer figures have gone up. Third off the layoff. Johnny V picking up the mount, tremendous with new young horses, and I think that's something I may look at. But I was almost going to single the 7Q, the Duck Boats. Besides Mont and Alvarado being tremendous together in any stakes race, when they get together in a stakes race, they're almost deadly. But the horse is the only horse that won at this distance. And again, they're young horses, so they're getting used to stretching out, used to this distance, etc. But the one stat that I really leaned on, I was like, ooh, okay, this is pretty serious, particularly because it's not a stat that's often available to all handicappers, because it doesn't typically. Some of the stats that Brisnet puts out, and our buddy Gus Alonso has kind of given me a lot more information. And Brisnet, I love Brisnet for different reasons, but you get sometimes a statistic that you will not get from some other venues, from other sources. And the statistic is, when Bill Mott takes a horse and puts him from all weather to dirt, he's been 3 for 3 the last 3 times he did that. And that's pretty solid. I mean, Bill Mott's good enough as it is as a trainer, let alone to have a stat like that. And the horse has never raced on synthetic until the last race. Didn't run terrible, made a late run at the end. I'm not sure that was the purpose of the race. I think that might have been set up to have this horse run in this race, going from synthetic to the dirt, as I mentioned, and Bill Mott is super with that. So, the 7 could have been a single. Of course, I didn't want a single. I also did use the 3 horse, Lemon Zest. I know John is a little bit concerned about it. I don't blame you for some of the thoughts you mentioned. I just think Flavien Prat getting on the horse for the first time may find a gear that this horse hasn't found yet. 3 back. I mean, it was a little shorter at a mile. He kept up with the front runners and then ran by him that time. Last time out, didn't do so well. His buyer speed figures are regressing a little bit. That certainly is a little bit of a check mark that I don't like, but I just think he could be getting a pretty good trip out front with Flavien Prat on him. So, but those are the picks I like. So, the next race, John, if we can go to the last race in the sequence, the 10th race, which is a 1 3/8 marathon turf race. I love these. Another race where we can get chaos for different reasons. A 1 3/8 on the turf. The Long Island Grade 3, $250,000 for fillies and mares. John, I'll let you kick it off here.
Yeah, huge scratch like we talked about. The 6 was basically the sure thing speed to get out there and set the pace here. Now it's a little murky. We're trying to find the speed horse who's going to lead this. And if one horse goes out there and they start dawdling on the front end in these marathon turf races, no matter how quick turn of foot you have, you just can't catch them. So you got to keep an eye on, no show Sammy Joe, the one on the rail, has shown that he can be forwardly placed. She can be forwardly placed there. And that was my last throw out. To make my ticket work, I was between the 1, 2, 3, and then I looked at it, so I threw out the 1. Maybe with the scratch, I'd have to, redo something, but that would just leave the 3 of being the speed or sitting second behind the 1. And I think coming out of the distance races that, the 3 has, and actually, the 1 is, been 1.5 1 3/8. So they've been running the distance. So I think Beach Bomb might just sit the perfect trip, sit there second behind the 1, get the first jump. And a horse that, I think is just made for, 1.5 mile distance and really hasn't even tried it yet is the Chad Brown Greyosh for, Flavien Prat.
Yeah.
So, he's going to understand the pace scenario. He's going to have this horse strategically placed probably from the inside there, 4th, 5th, 6th, not way back. And, just hopefully outsprint him to the wire. But he's always coming every race, shows the running lines. Actually beat She Feels Pretty, who just almost won the Breeders' Cup. She ran, She Feels Pretty, dynamic pricing, a ton of good ones back then when she ran in all the grade 2s, grade 1s. So I think this might be her distance. And if there is a little bit of pace on the front end, she'll be the one picking up the pieces. Or the 3 horse would get first jump on the 1 if, they could go by the 1. So I got it on the inside here, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. Again, I know we talked about this with the scratch of the what appeared to be the only speed in the race, and not only I shouldn't say I was happy. That's the wrong word. It was interesting to see the 6 scratch because that was one of 2 Bill Mott entries, and that was the entry with Mott and Alvarado, which I would hate to leave off my ticket when Mott and Alvarado are together. But the other entry that that William Mott has in here is the 7 Alluring Angel with Kinder Caramouche. Won last time out at this distance at a grade 3 race with a decent field. Came in 3rd at this race, but just missed. Came up pretty strongly at the end and just missed. So I think this horse, that's why I went a little bit deeper to 1, 3, and the 7. We talked about the reason why we like the 1. That could be interesting. Beach Bomb, besides the things that you mentioned, John, which all make a lot of sense. Javier Castellano on marathon races is tremendous in terms of doling out the speed, staying up as close as he needs to be. Just lost by a neck last time out in the grade 3 race at Aqueduct back in October. So, and he's also the number 1 prime power. Again, I'm sure our people are probably getting a little tired of hearing me say number 1 prime power, but I know Gus Alonso's not sick of hearing me say that, but that's okay. So I went 3 horses here. The 1, 3, and as John mentioned, the 7, the Alluring Angel, the other horse, Bill Mott's other horse. Don't know why the 6 scratch. I didn't get to see if it was a vet scratch or just whatever sometimes they'll call like a stakes scratch, whatever. So if we both get to the Will Pays, John, in this race, I would like to see us both be looking for the 3 as a Will Pay, and then that'd be great if both of our tickets hit. That would be a super situation for us right here, John.
And that Unity ticket's a fun idea for somebody to get involved. Very small, $16 wager. You can have a little fun, for under a $20 bill, and just root along. If you want to get a couple buddies together, you can play one of our tickets more in the the lower $100 range. So different ways you can approach it. And if you wanted a single horse somewhere along the way, it could be that 13 with Pratt. You want to shrink both of our tickets, that would probably be a single that we both would agree and say, hey, you want to play a smaller ticket with the rest of our horses, maybe single the 13 on both our tickets, and that'll make it really a reasonable number.
Sure. And again, I like that idea of that Unity ticket that we put together. It'll be fun to see how that turns out because, again, you made your picks. I made my picks in your space. I made them in my space. And then when we put them together, I looked at the ones that matched up, and it's kind of cool. So we'll see how that turns out. So let's take a look and enjoy today's day, John. Any final words before we check out, my friend?
No, just if I like that 13, if you want a single on both our tickets, Fred's ticket would be $36. Mine would be $45. And our Unity ticket, which includes that, horse, would be $16. So there's a fun way, to mix it up and play a lesser amount just to, stay involved. Other than that, just enjoy this beautiful fall day. Heading down Atlantic City now for the weekend. Going to see dinner and a show tonight. Then
you're traveling, John. You're traveling.
Traveling handicapper will be mobile.
Where are you going? Where are you going in Atlantic City, bud?
We're going to be at Ocean. Got to pick up my free gift today, a pair of Uggs for my daughter that she picked her size and style out. So I'm going to go order it for her. Then we are going to go to Nobu for happy hour dinner at the bar. Nobu, one of our favorite places, and go see the Hook.
Who's the show?
The Hook at Caesars. It's a Spiegel World show. Spiegel World show from Vegas. It's called the Hook. We've seen it twice already, but it's the 3rd time we're seeing it. Just a fun, it's a fun, entertaining show.
That sounds like a strong endorsement. If you see a show 3 times, it's got to be good, John. So you guys,
they change it up all the time. So it's a little different each time.
Okay, so they mix it up a little. All right, cool.
Yep.
All right, John, listen, thank you very much. Have a great time down there, John. As always, a pleasure to talk with you about these horses. Good luck to all of our viewers. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be putting some things together special as we're moving along here, and we continue to appreciate the support we get from our viewers. Thank you very much, John, and let them run, John.
Let them run, everybody. Good night.
All right.
See ya.